Hello, everyone. Gina Aliotti here. I am so excited about today. Today is truly the best day ever, and here is why. I have two reasons. You can always find a reason why today is the best day ever. I just launched my new website. For those of you that haven't seen it yet, you must check it out, GinaAliotti.com. You know, years of evolution, it's amazing how you just keep evolving and you have to realign, which is going to be the topic of today's talk, with where you are in life and what ignites your fire and what truly gets you excited. So that is number one reason why today is the best day ever. And secondly, best day ever because I get to connect with a dear friend, Dr. Dan Cardellichio. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Dan before I bring him on and we chat all about some great stuff. So Dr. Dan Cardellichio is a doctor of chiropractic. Dr. Dan received his bachelor's degree in biology from Rutgers University. He graduated from New York Chiropractic College with a doctor of chiropractic degree. Also, Dr. Dan received his Master's of Science degree from the University of Bridgeport, where he serves as an adjunct professor teaching at the graduate level. He teaches evidence-based nutrition, I love that, and pathophysiological of disease. Dr. Dan is a leader in the field of metabolic and functional nutrition. As a clinical nutritionist, Dr. Dan has a special interest in health conditions caused by obesity. Dr. Dan understands the importance of personalized precision nutrition using food sensitivity testing, vitamin and mineral analysis, and weight loss to optimize health. Currently, he is working towards the board of certified nutrition specialists. Dr. Dan attends many postgraduate seminars on functional medicine and is constantly advancing his skills. Dr. Cardellichio has been married for 30 years and has one son that plays hockey. Let's bring Dr. Dan on. Hello, how are you?
Gina, how are you, my friend? How is everything? You're in Cali right now, right?
I am.
What is the weather like, Gina?
Do you want to know?
We are in the midst of a snowstorm, and we're going to get 2 feet of snow. We're at like 18 inches right now.
Oh my goodness. It's about 65 degrees. So it's gorgeous and I'm sending it your way.
So I'm coming out. Yeah, do you have an extra room in the house? I can rent out a room until I find a place.
Yes, I absolutely do, but you need to come out in the next week because we're actually moving my son into the guest room. So get on it.
All right, I got to fight your son for that extra room then.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm excited to share with my followers a little bit more of a deeper dive into alignment, proper alignment. We're going to get into food sensitivities. And wow, what a resume you have. Can you give me share with me a little bit about how you got started? And obviously your career now has evolved. So share with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much for being on here. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Gina and I are friends, and she had asked me, and I said, yes, absolutely. So for me, I have been a chiropractor for over 30 years. And at one time, I changed careers, if you will, even though I'm still a chiropractor. I'm 59 years old right now. And when I was 37 years old, had a heart attack. And I went from playing sports in college, being in shape, being in top physical condition. After that, you get married, you're in chiropractic school, you get married, you start opening up offices. Gina, I went from 195 pounds to almost 260 pounds. And I was a big boy. I had what they call metabolic syndrome. I had a lot of belly stuff. My cholesterol was up, my hypertension, I had like pre-diabetes. And at one point in time, I had a heart attack when I was 37 years old. And I remember the week leading up to it, I knew it was bizarre. I knew I was going to have this heart attack. I couldn't stop it. It was already there. I'm eating poorly. On the Belt Parkway in Brooklyn, there is a dirty water dog truck, and coming from the New Jersey office going into New York, every Friday at 1 o'clock, there were 3 dogs and a can of Coke. I would go in front of everybody. I put my dollar down. I waved at the owner of the truck, and I would just walk away because I was there all the time. And my diet was like that. I was eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner out, busy, 3 offices. And I just remember the days leading up to it. And here's the serious part, the days leading up to this where I didn't feel well. I was very tired. I was very fatigued. I was shaking a lot. My skin was pale. I was sweating. And the couple of nights beforehand, I woke my wife up and I said, come on, we have to go to the hospital. She looked at me and she said to me, oh my God, you're going to die. And so I'm kind of a goofball sometimes. And I said, well, at least I literally paid on Friday. I paid the life insurance. So you're already taken care of. And then we went to the hospital, didn't have the heart attack. I'm really feeling bad. Tuesday in the office, and it just happened. Tunnel vision, pale, sweating. I walked across the street. There was the hospital. I remember, lying in the hospital bed. They had the pads next to me, and my blood pressure was 220 over 130. I'm sweating just thinking about it, Gina.
Wow.
And it just happened. And I awoke later. My wife was working in Manhattan at the time. She had come in. It was a somber moment because here I am, a healthcare provider. I had that imposter syndrome going on. I'm just an imposter because I'm talking about health. Right. I'm talking about that alignment. I'm talking about nutrition, and I didn't bring that to the table. So I did the traditional medical route, and I was taking medications. I was taking a statin. I was taking Tricor. They're trying to figure out what the dosages are, Gina, because my cholesterol was 500 and my triglycerides were 1,227. That's the big marker for heart disease. And the cardiologist said to me, wow, he says, usually people that are in this range, they're not around so much, he goes, you're lucky, you're blessed to be here. So I took it to heart. A friend of mine referred me to a nutritionist who became my mentor. And we did some food sensitivity tests. We did leaky gut. We did all of these tests. And the diet that was given to me was working with my metabolism, my biochemistry. I started to lose weight. I started to exercise again. I remember before I had the heart attack, I remember saying to a friend of mine who's an internist, I was in the office and I was visiting. He said, you look bad. He took my blood pressure. And I said, I'm going to start running again. I'm going to start working out. He goes, I don't know if that's a good idea because I don't know if you can handle that. That's how bad it was. You go from this athlete and then you went to the opposite end of the spectrum. And it was, and it was just mind boggling. And so at one point in time, the nutritionist I saw said to me, you're really into this. Why don't you why don't you do some of this stuff in your office? He goes, I could get you into University of Bridgeport. I'm a graduate of there. I just went. I didn't see him for like 3 years. He's a good friend of mine. I didn't see him. I came back with a master's degree in nutrition because I wanted, that's where I decided that's where my passion lied. That's where I wanted to help people out and get them off of meds and get them healthy. You being a figure competitor, an athlete, you understand the importance of diet, nutrition, and working out, because if you don't have that, you have nothing. I had 3 offices, Gina, and I'm not afraid to say this. Money was coming in. You had 3 offices. It was in the 80s and the 90s, and insurances it's a much different time then. You were just making money. You were doing good work. You were helping people out. You were getting paid for it. And I realized no matter how much money you had, it didn't make any difference. If you don't have your health, it's just,
you have nothing. So did you have your nutrition, functional nutrition at that point, or was this a pivotal point when you were actually digging deeper into it?
This was the point where I decided to take it to the next level. It was right after the heart attack. I said, this is where I want to live in making my living. This is where I want to help people. And I was always interested in nutrition, being athletic. we were, back in the 70s and the 60s, we were taking multivitamins, we were taking B complex vitamins, we were buying them at the pharmacy. There wasn't the nutraceutical companies that there are today. We were trying to look for health, and we were like, okay, we're going to play football. We're in football. We want to buck up. Let's take this, protein shake. And if we were playing basketball, let's get B vitamins. It helps with, the burning of the carbohydrates and so forth. We were always into it, but not to the level that that I decided to get into it. I can't remember the one of the original protein shakes.
Oh, back in the day, right? Those original.
I can't remember. It started with an M, Metametrics or something.
Metrics, probably. Yeah,
I think that was it. And so, like, that was like the big, protein shake that we were all taking back then.
I love how you took this obstacle and you've really turned it into a pivotal time in your career. And just, I feel like that's what we have to do, is find these situations that happen and come up with a way to pivot and now see how we can make ourselves better and in turn help everyone else. Well, that's so awesome that you didn't use that as an excuse. Oh, I just have to take these medicines for the rest of my life and this is just the way it is. Because you could have easily gone down that road, but you decided to take ownership.
Well, you have to take ownership. And you talking, I'm getting chills just listening to this because I have a son. I know that you have children, and this is what we try to teach our children also, right? No matter what you're confronted with, what you're faced with, you can be an entrepreneur and you want to, be in real estate and you want to be an entrepreneur in real estate and the market crashes. You can make it. You can make it. You have to figure your stuff out, but you can absolutely make it. So I looked at this and I said, well, I can go one way or the other. And I said, I don't want to lie down. That's just not in me. Plus my father was a big guy. And if I did that, he would probably just look at me and say, come on, fool, let's get up and he was that tough Italian guy. Right. And there was no way, Gina, that he was going to let me lay down and, the cliche, lay down and die at that point. I decided I need to do something. I need to educate individuals. I want to set the world on fire with functional medicine and clinical nutrition. I really want to help people out. It's one of the reasons why I get up in the morning.
I love it. Now, can you share for those that are listening or watching what exactly functional nutrition is?
Sure. So it's a term, and some people like the term, some people don't like the term. Functional medicine, clinical nutrition, and really what a functional medicine practitioner does is he looks at health and he looks at it from a root cause. So by way of an example, you come in and you're heavy, and because you're heavy, you got a little bit of high blood pressure, your cholesterol is up. We want to take a look at it from the root cause.
Yes.
So what we do is we say, hey, listen, you know what? Let's take a look at your lifestyle, because this is a chronic lifestyle disease, right? A lot of times there's genetics that come into play. It came into play with me because if you have triglycerides at 1227, that's also genetics. But that, your genetics are not you 100%. You can approach it and you can help yourself out. So we look at the root cause. What are you eating during the day? Are you exercising during the day? Are you taking in enough water during the day? Are you smoking cigarettes? Are you, how many cocktails, adult beverages are you having in a day? Do you do any cardio? Are you doing any resistance training? We look at the whole picture and we try to get to that root cause, Gina, because once we start picking it apart and we say, well, you're deficient not in, we'll say Lipitor, but you're deficient in walking, right? Listen, you don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to get on stage like you did and win. Listen, you've never done this before. What's a root cause problem? You're not doing any exercise. So walk 15 minutes out of your house, walk 15 minutes back just to start it off. Let's look at your biochemistry. Let's do the food sensitivity test. Let's do the vitamin and mineral panel. Let's do the leaky gut test. Because of the foods that you're eating, let's see what we need to do to change it. So that's what it means to be a functional medicine practitioner. You look at the root cause. If the condition you have is related to your lifestyle, And lifestyle diseases today are heart disease, cardiovascular disease, could be autoimmune types of conditions, obesity, hypertension. We take that and we say, you know what? You know what? You continue to take your meds. That's up to your medical doctor to take you off of that. What we're going to do is we're going to look at it from a dietary perspective, and we're going to make sure you eat properly and take the proper micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals, and the proper macronutrients, the proteins, the carbs, and the healthy fats.
I love that. And that's a lot of what I do with my coaching in nutrition is looking at the bigger whole. And it's so interesting how people come, I'm sure to you as well, help me get healthy, help me lose weight. And that is, of course, that is a goal, but the bigger issues are less about how I'm going to help you lose weight and more about how I'm going to help you live a healthier lifestyle and really find the underlying issues. For a lot of what I deal with is people on the go, grinding, and not giving themselves that time off to breathe, to relax, to allow themselves to realign, because we live in this go world. And I do feel like there's so many people that are just going after just trying to lose weight and not really getting to the root cause of why the weight loss is not happening. Right.
It's really a mind, body, spirit type of a situation where you have to have all three of those working together. And I was talking with, if you ever hear the Doctor Show, it's out in New York on, I think it's Channel 4. Ian Smith is the host. Yes. And I was talking with Dr. Ian, and I said to him, what is the most important aspect of weight loss? Because you do a lot of weight loss in your practice. He looked at me and he goes, from here. He goes, if I don't get this first, Gina, he said, if I don't get this first, my earbuds fell out. Sorry. If I don't get that first, then
nothing else matters.
Nothing else is going to matter, and nothing else is going to happen if I don't get your head wrapped around that you got to eat differently and you got to approach your life differently. Like you said, it's go, but sometimes you need to stop. Sometimes you need to have that morning routine. Sometimes you need to, sit back, do a little journaling. What are you grateful for in your life? And, so you can look at it from that mind, body, spirit perspective.
Yeah. And I feel like you had a little bit of that even before your heart attack, how you mentioned that you knew it was coming because you were able to turn inward. But if we're always on the go and doing, we don't have that time to actually assess what's going on a deeper level.
Right.
I love this, Dr. Dan. And, I'm really big on alignment. That's why I love that this is the big topic of this conversation. And I have a GFIT Academy where I coach people on how you reach your goals doesn't just start with what's the next best diet, what's the next best trend. It really starts at a deeper level where we start with an alignment phase of getting your mind, body, and soul, as you said, from here up in a good place. So now from a physiological standpoint, as a chiropractor, can you share a little bit about what happens internally when you're not aligned? Because I know that when you're not aligned, I call these accelerator blockers. There's all these blockers that are getting in the way of where we want to go.
Right.
Sure. Tell me a little bit about that on a physiological level. When you're kinked out and not in alignment, what does that look like?
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because this is the basis of what it means to be a chiropractor. So, a chiropractor looks at the spine. And it looks at the spine as also part of that root cause of disease. So if you're misaligned, right? If you have what we call a subluxation, you get a subluxation from sports, sitting too much, activities of daily living. I'm shoveling today, 2 feet of snow over the last, my back is hurting. So I know that I'm misaligned. I know that I have this subluxation. And what happens when you have this subluxation, it stops the nervous system from sending signals to the various organs and tissues in the body. And by doing that, what we know today, it can alter your physiology. It can alter your metabolism. It can lead to, in part, one of these root cause diseases. So as a chiropractor, we adjust, we manipulate, we treat the spine. We put it back into alignment so that the nervous system is flowing to all the tissues and cells in the body, helps regulate digestion, helps regulate the heartbeat, helps regulate acid production in your stomach, helps with asthma, breathing, and so forth. So you're in alignment and your nervous system is functioning. There's no interference and your bodily functions are working appropriately. Your immune system, your digestive system, your cardiovascular system, your brain, your nervous system, it all works in unison together, and it helps you keep you in alignment so that you can be more healthy. You have an expression of better health at that point.
Yeah, I love that. Now, so at what point, so let's say somebody comes to you, they're out of alignment, you get them back in alignment, things are flowing, nutrients are getting into their cells better, their digestion's better, their sleep is better, everything, right? When you're in alignment, everything is just flowing.
Right.
So at what point do you have somebody get a food intolerance test? Because things are good. So do you go have them get that food intolerance test as to be proactive, or is it when they feel like, okay, I felt an alignment, now something's not right? At what point do you advise somebody gets an intolerance test?
I say if you want to be healthy, come in and you get the food intolerance testing. We take a look at your gut. However, what's interesting about this, it's the same thing with most of healthcare today. They come in after a period of time, Gina, and now they've been eating poorly. They're not taking in the correct vitamins and minerals. Oh, geez, you know what? I went to the doctor and they said to me, I'm diabetic. How did this happen? How did this happen? Unfortunately, that's when most individuals come into the office, is when they're exhibiting symptoms. They need to be more proactive, coming into the office, getting adjusted, right? And then sitting down and looking at their lifestyle and saying, hey, listen, you know what? You're getting adjusted. You're functioning better. Physiologically, you're functioning better. Let's take a look at it further. What's your diet like? Are you a little bit overweight? Are you a lot of bit overweight? Do we need to take a look at that? And from there, if individuals are more proactive, I do believe that they would be better off in their life. They would be more healthy. You and I know that firsthand, right? And your clients, my clients, the ones that come in and they're proactive, they're healthier. They don't get as sick as much. They're just better off. They're happier people. And I find that, and I'm sure you find that also with your clients.
Right. Yeah, but do you feel that somebody should be proactive by assessing their lifestyle before they go down that rabbit hole? Because I almost feel like, when somebody wants to lose weight and they go to have bypass surgery, to me, it's almost like you're jumping too far ahead. Let's address the lifestyle issues before you go down that road, or before you have the intolerance test. Because would you say that some people come and they haven't done all the lifestyle changes? There's no sleep, there are no off days, they're eating crap, and they're like, it must be an intolerance to something.
Right. Oh, that is such an important comment that you made. Yes. You got to take a look at the lifestyle right away initially, and then you can figure out if you need any of the testing, right? You can figure that out. So you mentioned sleep. Okay. I'm talking to one PhD in nutrition, and I said to him, Dr. Marcello, tell me, what's the most important aspect of nutrition? Sleep. Because if you don't get sleep, you don't get sleep. And if you don't get the appropriate sleep, restful, restorative sleep, then what happens is that the day is set up not really well. Your physiological processes aren't going on. And what happens here is that your metabolism isn't working great. Your biochemistry isn't working great, he said. And he works with athletes. He works with special forces, and he tries to get them to take a look at their lifestyle from a whole Gestalt type of a thing, everything. That's what we're talking about here. So are you sleeping appropriately? Are you drinking enough water? Are you staying away from caffeine? Are you just drinking a couple of adult beverages a week? Or are you having 30 of them? I had a patient came in last week. They have 15 drinks between Saturday and Sunday. I don't understand why I'm gaining weight, Dr. Dan. I'm like, whoa, whoa. So we look at all aspects of their life, and that should be done as early as we possibly can. You want to stay out of the sick model. You want to get into the health model. So if you go to your primary care, Gina, you're going to go and you're going to get your physical every year, which I think people should go get a physical. That's a smart thing to do. But you don't want to get caught up into that system where if you're not looking at everything right away, and what you're talking about is exactly what I'm doing with my clients. It's exactly what you're doing. We live in those parallel universes doing that. It is so important as quickly as they possibly can. So my son's 13, and I've done this with him. I can't remember the last time he was sick. He's vibrant, he's growing, and so forth. And I know that you and your husband are doing the same with your children, right? You got them out there.
Keep them active.
You're out there, and I see the videos. They're in the garage and they're doing push-ups and they're doing whatever. As a matter of fact, Sunday my son is getting assessed. He's 13, so he could start pumping some iron just a little bit right now.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Gino, Sunday we're meeting with one of the personal trainers here in town. He's going to assess them, muscular weaknesses, muscular imbalances. He's going to look at his diet, his health. He wants me there because I'm going to, he wants to go over this with me, and I'm going to spend the hour and a half. I said, James, you're ready to go. So the push-ups that you're doing and the body resistance squats you're doing are good. But you're 13 now, so you're going to be hitting the gym with this one individual. So you have to look at it. You have to look at it as early as you possibly can,
and be the example.
And listen, just by the people that I know. I was talking with this one medical doctor, and he does a lot of sleep. He looks at sleep. Gina, he thinks that ADHD and ADD and those that are on the spectrum, those individuals, those children are not getting enough restful, restorative sleep. And so there could be a neurological component. There could be other components. Mm-hmm. But he has shown me the research. He has shown me what needs to get done with children. And I'm going to share with your audience that my son has been diagnosed with ADHD. Playing hockey in school, a lot of studying, wasn't ready for what was happening and so forth. And he's not sleeping well. So we looked at him and we said, we got to change your lifestyle, buddy, because if you don't, you're going to start breaking down. Used to get a lot of ear infections during that time. And now we've changed it. He's getting his appropriate sleep.
That's great. And then not to mention, what's in their diets. I pick up the kids' school lunches and it's loaded with sugar. Like my husband actually said, you should calculate how many grams of sugar in these school lunches. It's absurd, but yet, we send them off and they get diagnosed. But if we look at the lifestyle changes or what actions we can actually take, I think that we could really, debunk some of the ADHD.
Well, you know what? For all the parents, all of your parents that are listening today, look at your children's lifestyle. Are they somewhat active? Are they eating a lot of sugar? Are they eating a lot of the cakes and candies? Those ultra processed foods are really bad for them. It knocks them out of alignment physiologically, biochemically, mentally, physically. I remember eating sugary cereals for breakfast, and like an hour later, I'm like this. I'm like, I'm like ready to jump all over the place, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. So, listen, children. Yes, you got to look at your children. That's when you start doing this, so that they grow up to be healthy, functioning adults. Get them out of that sick model system.
Yeah, I think at some point, so getting back to the food intolerance testing and all of that, because once you do all of the things, once you focus on, okay, I'm going to get better sleep. I'm going to start moving my body. I'm going to remove the sugar. I'm going to remove the processed foods. I'm going to do all of these things. And you're still noticing fatigue and improper digestion, leaky gut, which you can touch on. So let's say you've done your homework and you're doing it all right. And you're like, Gina, I'm doing it. Dr. Dan, I'm doing it all right. and you still just feel like there's something off. And this is where I feel like those tests do come into place. So tell us a little bit more. So now we're doing everything and we feel like there's just something that's not processing right.
Right. And that is a great question, great comment. And what I try to educate my patients with is this, is that just because you are seemingly eating a good diet, you could be on the Mediterranean diet, arguably one of the better diets that's out there. Our ancestors ate that all the time. And, it seemingly can be this great diet. However, you have this client, you have this patient, they're getting some benefit, but there's something that's missing. Like you said, they still have the brain fog. They're tired. They still need those cups of coffee to get up in the morning. Great time to do the food sensitivity test, because even if you're eating a healthy diet, it may not be healthy for your very specific metabolism and your biochemistry. So you can have a piece of wild caught salmon. You can have Brussels sprouts. You can have some veggies on there. You can have some broccoli, some cauliflower, right? You can make some balsamic vinaigrette and you put some oregano in there. You're thinking about a really great meal. You get your proteins, your carbs, you're going to get some healthy fats going on in there, but yet you still feel a little bit off. The food sensitivity test will tell me what you should be eating and what you should be avoiding. This is the game changer, in my opinion, right now in the functional medicine realm, because if I can tell you what you should be eating, and if you're telling me that you're eating a good diet, but yet you're still not right, I can say, well, you know what? You're having an intolerance to salmon or mackerel, herring, trout, maybe grass-fed beef, maybe some vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, maybe some blueberries, organic apples. It tests. I do a test for 180 different foods. Simple blood test. And what happens is that I could put together a very specific diet for that individual. And after a month of this type of a diet, they look at me, they've lost 8 to 10 pounds, Gina, and they're like, wow, I don't ever want to go back to what I did before. You don't know what you don't know, right? And if you don't know how to eat, this is where you and I come in. We're going to figure out what it is you should be eating. And that food sensitivity and tolerance test is a game changer when it comes to this.
I love that because, nutrition, which is why I went to school for it as with you, it's so awesome because you can just start to really, food is medicine. And when you get to that there's all these layers and you get to that point where you're eating healthy, but then there's always more for you to learn. And it's like, you're eating healthy. You're, like you said, you're eating the salmon, you're eating the olive oils and the avocados, and you're doing everything, quote unquote, right. But yet still there can be changes because your gut flora and your microbiome is different than somebody else's. And
what happens with that, Gina, that's the segue for a leaky gut. Intestinal permeability, because if you're eating against your metabolism and your biochemistry, what happens and what we're finding out is that you get inflammation. The inflammation is in your stomach, right? And so you get this inflammatory process going on and you get this leaky gut. And really what happens, it's like this, it's your stomach lining, the cells are together and they start separating. They start separating because of the inflammation from the diet that's working against you. So if you have, I don't know, just by way of an example, a slice of pizza, it's not the pepperonis going directly into your bloodstream, but you're not digesting it as properly and you're not absorbing the nutrients at that particular juncture. And what happens is that creates an inflammation in your bloodstream. There's research going on right now at major universities. So your stomach lining is literally like this, taking products that we know can help, that have glutamine in them, that helps heal the gut, probiotics, prebiotics, eating kimchi, sauerkraut, even taking certain strains of a probiotic helps heal the gut and helps it out. So we know from the research that a leaky gut can lead to cardiovascular issues, can lead to diabetes type 2, can lead to being overweight. The insulin resistance can lead to autoimmune conditions and hypertension. And these are these chronic lifestyle diseases. So to tie that in, you got to get to the root cause. You got to look at your lifestyle. We got to see what's going on. And at one point in time, you're going to get adjusted, and then we're going to take a look at your food sensitivity. There's a specific test for leaky gut, and we want to make sure that you're eating appropriately and the human body, the machine, is functioning at a higher level.
Yeah. And isn't it crazy how that one thing, the leaky gut, and then how it leads to all these other things. And you have to be mindful of going to the root and not just getting that Band-Aid, which is just going to Band-Aid the problem, right?
Right. It's amazing. It's amazing. And after you educate the clients and the patients and they begin to understand, they begin to get the benefit. Oh, right. How many times have you heard, I can think clearer. I don't have the brain fog. I'm not as fatigued anymore. I feel fatigue at night, but then I had a great day and I just want to go to sleep because my body needs sleep right now. Right. I worked out some, I ate well, I spent some time with my family. I did everything in the course of a day, and it just makes for a better life also.
Yes, it all just overflows into every area.
That's right.
Okay, a couple questions. One thing about the food intolerance test that I've always kind of been leery of is that once I feel like if somebody goes and gets their test, now mind you, I've never had one. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, I've known from some of my clients, they get the intolerance test and they are intolerant to, out of the 180 that you mentioned, almost, let's say 160. And then it's just like, such a buzzkill because they feel like, oh my gosh, I can't have anything anymore. So as you get that test, are there different levels of intolerance? Like this one's a red food. This one absolutely needs to be removed. And then some that might be mild that you can have in moderation, or what does that look like?
You know what? That is another great question, because when you have somebody come in and they get this intolerance test and they are having a difficult time because maybe some of their favorite foods are going to be taken away for a period of time, because that's not that you can't eat that piece of salmon or that chicken ever again. It's not that you can't. It's just that gut needs to be taken care of first before we start reintroducing. It's the elimination diet. So, I mean, just by right common sense, Gina, where if you're over here and then all of a sudden you go here, right? It's like, I haven't worked out, but I want to go on stage, and it's 3 days later and you've worked out 5 hours each day. You're going to look in the mirror and you're going to say, it's not happening.
I'm done.
How long did it take you to get to the point of being a champion, right? It took you years. So what I'm trying to say is that you can't go from 0 to 60 and take everything out all at once, because people are going to get frustrated. And you got to look at the individual client and patient and say, hey, listen, you came in to see me. Your cardiologist referred you to me. You did have a heart attack, or you almost had a heart attack. I may need to be a little bit more strict with you, but I'm not going to take everything away from you. Listen, if you're eating, I don't know, Lucky Charms for breakfast, and that's what you like, that's going to be taken away no matter what.
That's
right?
non-negotiable. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's non-negotiable. But when I'm with a patient and I'm with my clients, I work with them and make sure that this is a program, and this is the most important statement when it comes to this, that it's sustainable for the long term. It's sustainable for the long term. So we're going to try this diet for a week or two. Let's see how you feel. You're going to come back into the office. We're going to do a body comp. We want to see if your percent body fat's dipping some. You want that lean muscle mass to go up. You're a better fat burning machine as a human. And if that's happening, that's great. So now what we can do is we can maybe talk about taking away some foods, because now you're feeling a little bit better. So you don't do it all at once, because it becomes frustrating all at once. And those are the individuals that you want to help out and they have maybe perhaps a relationship with food that's not really good, and they need to change that. It's our job not to be the psychiatrist, the psychologist, the therapist, but it's our job to make sure that they can get a sustainable diet that works for them. And it's interesting, there's another nutritionist that works in the county that I'm in, and I'm really good friends with her and her husband. And she said to me, Dan, I don't mind flexible dieting, because if a patient has gotten X amount of benefit, they've lost those 20 to 25 pounds, and they're at grandma's house and grandma made, homemade monogot, and you're going to have a little bit of it. And I said, yes, that's the way I run my office too. So
yes,
you have to be careful not to go from one extreme to the next, and work with the client, work with the patient. Everybody's different. Listen, if you come to me and your HbA1c, which is an indicator for diabetes, is 10, we have a lot of work to do, right? And we need to be a little bit more strict. So everybody's different when it comes to that, but they can still enjoy, they can still live their life. We can still get to the root cause. Let's take away some foods. Let's add in some foods. So that's a great question, because a lot of patients have that exact question. And last week there was a fire sale on that in my office, where every new patient asked for that. What happens if?
Right. And I love that you're hitting on just, it takes time. It takes time to heal your gut. It takes time, and people just want it overnight. And it's like, you have to give your body time to adjust. And, my big word is consistency. Being consistent too with the foods that you're eliminating. And also, I also promote to not eliminate too much at once, because you want to know what the variable is. If you remove everything, was it the coffee? Was it the you don't know what it is. So really being mindful
take out,
of,
take out a couple of few items, and let's see where that goes. And then we can add them in, we can take them out, we'll take something else out. So that's the smart way to do it, because I just found in my office, Gina, that if you in fact take everything out and you blow up the diet so much, they just don't stay, because it's too complicated. We have to change their headspace. I'm thinking about one individual that's here in New Jersey, and he likes to just blow it up. But then he's out and they're out. The whole business is out. They're having cheeseburgers, they're having beers, they're having scotches, and they're telling their patients, don't do that. Or they're telling their clients, don't do that. You're setting a bad example to begin with, right? And you don't want to do that when you're out in society and you're preaching one way, because if it's not sustainable for you, how is it going to be sustainable for the people that you're treating? They're not going to respect you, right?
Absolutely. Okay, Dr. Dan, you're on the spot. Top 5 of your favorite gut-friendly must-haves in your diet. What would they be?
Okay, so my top 5 is there's this one product that is a nutrition shake. It has a lot of glutamine in it, and that is a must-have that I have with all of my clients. There's also two probiotics. We're going to keep them the same. So that's number 2. One's called
probiotics. Are you talking about a supplement, or are you talking about actual food?
Supplement. Yes, a supplement, because once we do the leaky gut test, we take a look at the zonulin and all the proteins. We take a look at the gluten, the non-wheat gluten, and all of that. There's a couple of probiotics that are supplements that we like to add in. And then we're going to add in kimchi, foods that have the that have those probiotics. Those are great. I have a black belt in karate, so Master Park, when we go over to his house to eat, we have a lot of kimchi. It's great. And sauerkraut is another one, not to be put on your hot dogs, not to have an Italian hot dog or a dirty water dog, but sauerkraut is really good to have. And also the one aspect of this that is always missing is water, drinking some clean water to flush out that system. So those are the top 4 or 5 that I must have when I'm dealing with a patient, because The probiotics help out with the bowel movements because you can get bound up when you got this leaky gut. So there's just so many different types of benefits that you get from those
I
foods
love
that
those.
we just.
Those
Yeah.
are all in the GFit diets.
I was going to say, what's in the GFIT diet?
So we got the kimchi in there. Absolutely. I love probiotics. I'm actually sipping on some bone broth right now. So bone broth and
that was my other go-to would be the bone broth, 100%.
Yeah, I love all that. And then your prebiotics, all the Italian over there, the garlic, all those good foods for your gut.
That's right.
Such good conversation. Now, how can somebody get, because you're in New Jersey, I wish you were right here. I'd come to your office and say hello and get a test. Can somebody get order a test through your office, or can they do it at home? What's the best way to do an intolerance test once you've done all the lifestyle changes?
All the lifestyle changes, then you want to do an intolerance test, you can contact me at suburbanwellnessgroup.com. You can give us a call at the office, 973-483-2227. We can see if we can help you out, because there's rules and regulations where I can practice in certain states, some states I can't practice in. Regardless, if you give us a call, if we can't help you out, we will make sure we find somebody for you that's within your area, because the functional medicine community, we all know each other. And I know people in California, from North Dakota to South Dakota to Texas to Maine down to Florida and every place in between. So we'll be able to help you out that way. I'm sure we can find somebody for you. So that's important to do. Yes.
Well, I am so grateful for this conversation. We speak the same language, and I'll make sure that all your information is posted in my group and here on the page so people can contact Dr. Dan at any time, like he said. And where else can people find out about you? I know you have several Facebook Lives throughout the week. I'm blown away by how many and the great experts that you have. So where can people tune in?
If you go to Daniel Cardellichio on Facebook, or you go to Dan Cardellichio DCMS on Instagram, Wednesdays we do Wellness Wednesday worldwide at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then right after that, I have a 5-time kettlebell champion, Lorna Kleidman. She comes on and she teaches different types of maneuvers with kettlebells. Wednesday evening, we have one with Suburban Wellness Group. My partner, she's an integrative medical doctor. So you can go, and that's generally my Wednesdays. We love to motivate, educate, and inspire, just like you and I are doing. So we have collaborations coming up in the future, Gina.
And what is that website, Dr. Dan? I'm going to put it down for everyone to pencil it in.
Website is suburbanwellnessgroup.com.
SAB. Oh gosh, now you're testing me.
Suburban, SUB.
SUB.
Yeah, Suburban Wellness Group, all one word, .com.
SuburbanWellnessGroup.com. Awesome. And Wellness Group. And Facebook, you are?
Facebook, just Daniel Cardellichio. You could go right to my personal page. Everything is on my personal page. And then Instagram is Dan Cardellichio DCMS. Come in, you'll see Gina and I, we did a podcast, and we had a great podcast. So you'll see that, and it's all good.
Very cool. I'll make sure all that information gets posted. And again, Dr. Dan, thank you so much. And I have to say, thank you for inspiring me to get this going. We had a conversation after our last chat that he and I had a couple of weeks ago, and he was a big catalyst for saying, just do it. Just get yourself on there, start to interview other people, because there's experts all over that have so much knowledge and information to share. And I just love hearing it. So thank you so much.
Gina, it's been an honor and a pleasure being here. Thank you very much. I look forward to further collaboration and us talking more.
Definitely. Thank you, Dr. Dan. Ciao.
Take care, everybody. Ciao.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Dan is such an amazing plethora of information, as you see, such an educated man, and just such great conversation. I will be doing more Facebook Lives to bring about new experts, girls, GFIT girls who can share their stories, as we always have something to learn from somebody else to educate, motivate, and inspire, just as Dr. Dan said. So as always, thank you so much for joining me today. Be sure to check out the new GinaAliotti.com website. It's so beautiful. so proud of it. Have the best day ever. And I will see you again next Tuesday, right here, same place, same time for our next guest. And I cannot wait to see you then. Have the best day ever.